Hi, I'm a grade 12 student here at LCVI. Next year, I plan on going to university to study sciences. My favorite color is red, and my favorite TV show is Prison Break. I've never been to Mecca, I'm from Egypt, and I'm a proud Muslim. My name is Yara Hussein. The intended effect of what I just did was to show how predisposed we are to judge others without knowing who it is. When the lights were off, I shared general facts about myself and my personality. And when the lights turned on, I shared some more uniquely personalized facts about myself. And when I said my name, I cemented these traits into human form, me. Humans are like gardens, admired for the colors of its flowers, its roots, its weeds, and its fallen leaves. Each individual photosynthetic cell is what makes that garden unique. Because if that leaf didn't fall from the tree, or that flower reflected a different spectrum of light, or those roots didn't twist and turn the way they did, all gardens would be identical. An imprint of the same genes infused within the cell of each living organism. The gardens would carry no unique value. Likewise, we are all different. Each one of us is a garden in our own way. What exists are individuals, different, original, known for the melanin that maps his skin, known for the scarf hoisted upon her head, known for the disability that gives him the ability to think universally. We are all different. Humans are born with two fears, the fear of falling and of loud noises. As we grow older and mature into society, we overcome these fears and we learn to develop new ones. However, some fears aren't developed, they're taught. Growing children have malleable brains. Anything and everything they hear and learn in their world exposes their shape and their worldview. From the sheltered environments that they may be encapsulated in from a young age by their parents, to the rampant misconceptions of media and intolerant news outlets. These traits are what set the environmental settings of young children and manage to enforce these false ideas about other cultures and religions and in a multitude of ways. The age at which children are exposed to these negative ideologies ensures that they stay with them for many years to come, and as they mature into society, those are the ideologies that they have to build onto. And that is how uninformed children learn to become fearfully and intolerant adults who then vote for fearfully intolerant leaders and politicians who then enforce fearfully intolerant laws, and the system keeps going. It is a positive feedback loop. And by positive, I don't mean good. I mean that every time the cycle restarts, it just gets positively worse. To consider a recent example, the Quebec ban on religious swear is both a symptom and an effect of this feedback loop. It started out with fear of those who were different than us, like me. Then it grew into hate and ignorance, until now, where there have been legal and social consequences to satisfy those who are ignorant in the province of Quebec. The law claims that its purpose is to ensure, and I quote, balance between collective rights of Quebec and the nation and human rights and freedoms. So essentially, people who look like me be stripped away from their individuality and freedom of expression. Not only does this suppress the majority of free religious expression in Quebec, but it also creates a culturally and religiously diminished environment that current and future children raised in Quebec will be exposed to. In fact, one of the biggest leading causes and factors in these misconceptions and what feeds into the positive feedback loops is the representation of minorities in the media. In our fast-paced, internet-driven society, social and professional media immensely shape our opinions and worldviews, and more often than not, it's the media that drives ignorant people to be hateful. But when seeing a group of Black people, it shouldn't make us think thugs or threat. When seeing a group of Muslims, it shouldn't make us think terrorists. When seeing the portrayal of Indigenous people in the media, it shouldn't make us think savages. Seeing Latin Americans shouldn't make us think undocumented illegals, rapists, drug lords, and any other negative connotation you want to put on it. These negative connotations about people of different races, cultures, ethnicities, background are never the whole truth. They're not even a fraction of the full picture. But the careful fabrication of money-hungry news outlets might trick us all into thinking that maybe it might be the truth. After all, when your trusted news channel reports the threat of Islamic terrorism 80% more often than any other kind of terrorism, you may think that 80% of Muslims are bad, and as a Muslim I can tell you, we're not all bad. You may be wondering how you can work towards bettering yourself to reduce your individual hateful footprint in society, so that you can start actively working to improve your social and legal environment, and the global community as a whole. Begin by educating yourself. Don't rely on members of minority groups to tell you about their culture and their experiences. Ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Go out and read, explore, take the initiative and understand who these people are in order to overcome that barrier. Secondly, understand your privilege. We all have privilege, whether it be your race, your gender, your class, your education, you name it. Some people are more privileged than others. And in understanding your privilege, you can use it to help those who are less fortunate, those who are uneducated. You can help them. And finally, change your habits. We can all fall into the trap of subconscious judgment. When you catch yourself painting people with a negative label, stop yourself. Tell yourself to give them 70 excuses for their behavior. Remind yourself to not generalize based on their physical traits or their color or what they're wearing. And keep in mind that you don't know the whole story. We must take action with ourselves and within our communities, so that people like Dia, Yusr, and Salha, who were murdered execution style in their homes in Chapel Hill, can eat in safety of their own home. So that the Stephen Clarks of America can visit their grandmother's house without being gunned down in their own backyard. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and any kind of injustice against anyone is an injustice towards everyone. If you're not equal towards everyone, you're not going to be equal towards anyone. You can't change or improve our society until you improve yourself. And you can't attempt to water your neighbor's garden if yours is wilted and dead. We are all different. But we are all part of a bigger whole. And division detracts from our overall beauty. A flower would never harm a fellow flower, and a garden would never harm a fellow garden. For all creatures of beauty understand that hate, fear, and destruction make things ugly. But we humans are not ugly. We are all gardens in the central park of life. Thank you.